Midweek Vibes coming to you live from Mamlaka Hill Chapel, Ruaka. And we are so glad that you are able to join us this afternoon. Today we will be looking at School at Home, session 2. And we'll be looking at the challenges parents are facing as they do whatever they do. And at the same time, trying to bring their children to a place of learning in a continuous basis. And to help me discuss that topic, I am joined by a very good team. We have Reverend Mwaura, our very own.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. We have our favorite also. We have Evelyn Kasina.
Thank you for having me.
And we also are joined by our very own Tweedley.
Hi.
Karibu sana. We are so glad that you guys were able to make it here. And we look forward to a great time together. We have a few questions that we want to address because parents have faced a big challenge as they try to do school at home. And our purpose here today is to try and understand where our parents are coming from and ease their lot to the extent that we can during this little time that we have. One of the things parents are challenged by is kids' cooperation. Are kids cooperating? Mwaura, you have kids at home.
Yes.
How are they cooperating?
I have two small kids. They are in pre-primary school, and they are cooperating sometime, not always. You get? I think because before we'll spend a month with them, then they go to school, where they get into this routine. Now they have been home for, I think, over 2 months now.
Right, yeah.
And I can tell you that there are aspects that they're not cooperating. But there are some, especially when they know that they get a reward, something like that. They cooperate very, very quickly and easily. But there are some that you wonder who these children belong to who.
Whose kids are these?
Exactly. Sometimes you ask yourself that.
Yeah. Is that common also for a parent who is also a teacher?
Yes, I think for me, there are days if I have not prepared them early enough, it's chaos in the house before they settle down. Because I find that if I'm not prepared, I'm also transferring that kind of unpreparedness to them. And they look at, of course, they look upon us for guidance, but then also their mental state before they transition to settling and calming down, it's a struggle.
There's a struggle right in there, isn't there?
You find them fidgeting and they get bored very quickly. And if what they're learning is not interesting, they have locked down their minds. So
Wow.
Yeah.
There are a few things that we have picked there. If you're not planned, kids will give you a challenge. If it's not interesting, kids will give you a challenge. Now, we have Tweedley, who is a school principal, a parent at the same time, and one who is doing school at home. Capture that for us and how we can best help a parent who needs to cooperate. What are you seeing before we come to the helping part?
So first of all, I know it's a confusing time for both parents and children. You're just wondering how do we manage that? Maybe many parents are just thinking, this is the key reason I'm not a teacher. They're reminded every day as they interact with their children. But I think if parents just take this on as a challenge, the way they take on their work challenges, and take it headstrong and tell themselves they can do it, it's actually something it's doable, it's possible.
So it's a nice thing that parents are accepting and acknowledging that they are feeling challenged. Yeah, that's a good one. So we accept that we have a challenge, and then we'll figure out how to face it. But that's a first bit that we acknowledge and accept that as parents, we are challenged by teaching our kids at home. It's balancing study time an issue for you as parents? Because parents are saying, how do we balance study time for our children at home and their entertainment time? Especially their screen time. So what's happening here? We want them not to do only one thing. We want them to be entertained a bit. We want them to be studying a lot. So what are the issues here that parents are facing with? Do we need to entertain our children?
I think one of the things that we must address, and I think even at the second part I'll show you how we can do the prioritization, is, and I tell this as a challenge to the parents. Do you wake up and the first thing you do is go on Facebook? Because if social media is what you engage the first thing you wake up in the morning, you are engaging with your small rocks. And I think even after the break, I'll show you how you can prioritize. So yes, it is good to entertain our children, but at what time? Yeah, and at what way? And also getting to understand what are the different types of entertainments that I can have with my children. There is what we were calling passive entertainment, where they're just staring at a screen and watching a cartoon or listening to music. But there could also be entertainment where, like right now, if they're not engaging in extracurricular activities outside, and for children who perhaps are doing ballet, like my daughter is doing ballet at home, watching on YouTube, so it can be entertaining, but it's also part of an activity that she gets to learn as she's still even accessing energy from herself. So we need first to define at what point do I bring in the entertainment, and what kind of entertainment do I also set in, because at this point where we are saying we are learning from home, it is important to look at how the normal learning was Monday to Friday, and when we used to bring in entertainment. She brought in a good part where she was saying we were entertaining our children towards the end of the week. So right now, if we can have either some sort of a similar arrangement where we are not engaging in hardcore entertainment in terms of now like a 2-hour screen time movie, in the beginning of the week, but we can introduce that to a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we can say maybe you can play your games for 30 minutes. You can watch a cartoon for another 20-30 minutes during the early part of the week, so that we are not also distracting them from the fact that they need to also study. So at what point do you bring that entertainment is what is critical for us to manage. Yes.
And then I think from a teacher's point of view, you can tell us that playtime or co-curricular activities are important for the development of the child. Tell us how we can see that either not happening at home or happening at home.
Yeah. So maybe before just I get to that, there's something she's alluded to about how you start your day. And I think it's important to just emphasize that, that for children, it's important that they start on a calming note. If you start with noise, you brush your teeth, you get out of there, you, I tell you, that chaos will run through the entire day. So you'd rather, and something maybe that can help is even if it's play a soft hymn or soft classical music in the morning, and then let that be the wake-up call for the children. Let them just get slowly into their routine, and then by 9 they're meant to be seated, either listening to a teacher or doing whatever it is that you plan for them. But for co-curricular, I would say involve it, integrate it as part of their learning.
Integrate.
Yes.
That's a key word.
That's a key word. Yeah, integrate it as part of their learning. For kids, it shouldn't be a big deal that now it's my playtime. For all they know, they could be doing science, but they're doing science in a playful mode. Or they could be doing literature, but it's in a playful mode. They don't know that they're doing literature or that they're doing math. For example, I could have coins, and we all have those tin coins that we have, and you could give them a shilling, 5 shilling, 10 shillings, and then you tell them, okay, here's my doll, I've labeled it, this one is 25 shillings, so can you please get for me 25 shillings? They are multiplying when they're counting for you. I need 2 10 shillings and I need 5 shillings coins, but they don't know that they're multiplying.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So
let's
say make it practical.
Let's come to the chaos. That it's possible for a parent to create a chaotic day for the child. And I hear, it's like from the way you said it is like from your voice, because brushing the child's teeth is a good thing, but I think it's how we say it. Is it? Is it how we say it? So is it? Do parents, Philip? Are we creating? How are we creating chaos without the high voice?
Without the high voice.
Yes.
And as a father, I've seen. I have girls. I don't know how or why children tend to hear when you raise your voice, then it kind of shake them. This is serious now. And I used to do that until we got some help about how to parent them well. And I have seen, I think one of the things that we learned last week is about having a hymn, starting it in an easy way. And we have seen some fruits with that. You get, and a lot is accomplished, in that morning hour. I may not speak about the afternoon hours, so you're still learning, and I think that's why you're here. But I think that place of starting easy, in an easy way, and especially for us where it's a challenge because we have two children, and they're in different age group. You get, so and they have different personalities. Being very attentive to them. But the other thing that we were able to help them understand is telling them about this new thing that is happening. That what you are used to you may not experience it during this time because we have all these things that are happening, and they kind of understand actually. So
Right.
then they ask me now, what do we need to do now? You get then you tell them these are the workbook that you have. You must first finish your work, and then you can proceed now to the entertainment part. One of our last born daughter, who she said that all this workbook, when I finish this workbook, I can get that entertainment, and she did a 1 week's assignment at a go. I'm done now. What else is remaining? Give me my time.
So the reward
So what's
is
the
very
reward now?
motivating.
Yeah, I want to enjoy myself and to entertain myself, because also they are finding it hard. Also, we go to school to learn. Now we are at home. The parent also, I realize that also it's not an easy time, because we have to teach them, and my wife is playing a major role there. Emotional changes, they are growing. Our firstborn is now teething. Now she's in a different, laughing at her. We have to encourage, and all those things.
Yeah.
The shoes are not fitting. We realize that the clothes are no longer fitting. So you're also thinking as a parent now, about, in addition to the role of being a teacher, I have now to think, to plan ahead. So it's not an easy time, even for the parents. And so this chaos that is happening in the parents' world, you can easily see it happening even in the children's lives. So I think one of the things that I have learned is to be very, very attentive, taking each day at a time, understanding the challenges that we are facing, and being there with our children as well. So, but it's a chaotic, it's really a chaotic thing.
And then you see transfer is a possibility of that chaos to the child. Evelyn, you were about
I
to say
wanted to
something.
actually add on to what he said. And for us also as parents, we need to be honest enough even with our children to tell them that mommy and daddy also go through ups and downs. I do not have my life, like a robot, it's configured in a certain way. I might also wake up and I don't feel like doing anything, but I still know that there are certain things I have to do. So if I feel off, if I look like I'm not doing things the normal way, it happens to everybody. So that also they get to understand that if they wake up today and they feel like I really don't want to learn, helping them understand that it is a normal part of life and they're also going through certain challenges, it also helps them also calm down, because then they get to understand, okay, by the way, even my mom yesterday didn't want to do certain things, but probably because she needed to do them, she was able to do them. So how can we help them get from a point of I really don't want to do this, and to help them calm down and realize that yes, in life there are sometimes you don't want to do things, but if you really have to do them, you have to take a step to do it. So I think even just as he said, our normal stresses, kids also have stress. So we also have to be very attentive to catch all those triggers and help them out of them.
To sort of help them cope with the different circumstances.
Yeah, that whole issue of accepting that as a parent, today I don't feel like doing anything. And then I see it in the child. So what kind of parent do I need to be able to help this child who also feels like she doesn't want to do the work?
The container parent.
The container parent.
The container being the container that holds their big emotions.
Oh,
Remember?
that's a good reminder that a parent is actually also
A container.
a container, so that the child who cannot manage their big emotions have someone to manage them and contain them for them. That's really nice. I like that. Yeah. So parents have also shared that time is difficult to manage. This COVID season, we are so much at home with more time than normal, but we seem to have been regulated by work. We had work time and work schedule. So somebody else was helping us do the homework with the kids, do the home management. But now it's me with the kids, with the home, with the cooking, with the chores, and I need to manage this time. Is that something we are feeling is a real challenge for our parents?
I think very, very true. Initially, we thought that we have all the time that we needed in the world. But over time, as we have come to adjust to the times that we are in, these COVID-19 times, I realize that we don't have much time actually. You get? And what I remember very well is what Tweedly challenged us, planning our time well, planning it very, very well, because it is not, this season will not last forever. You get, we know that, but also we have to account even for the time that we have. If we don't, one of the things that was hitting me is that if we don't help our children to manage this time very, very well, we are going to have a challenge when when school resumes and all that, because they will have been in that season for like 3 months or so. So they have totally adjusted, you get,
Yes.
to living in a chaotic world.
Yes.
So now when they go back to school and they have to be controlled, I think we have a lot of challenge. We'll bring a lot of challenge to the teachers.
Yes.
So I think with that awareness now, I really have to be very, very deliberate. We plan our time. We know what our children are going to learn, this week, today, and in this hour, what they can be able to do, and balancing that very, very well, as definitely with entertainment. Because again, for them, they know that home is a place to socialize, to interact, and all that. But now is also a place where I need to do schoolwork and to study. So I have to really be deliberate in planning and thinking through that.
That's a good point, that you have to be deliberate. And then sometimes parents have been deliberate.
Yeah.
They prepared the schedule, but after a week, the schedule have gone through the window.
I think we're told it takes almost 60 days of doing something consistent habit.
Uh-huh.
So if you give up in a week, then you're not disciplined.
Uh-huh.
So you need to be able to subconsciously remind yourself that you have to have the discipline and the consistency to make something habitual. So even those days where you wake up and you feel like, wait, I don't want to.
I need to
This is
still
not
work at
happening.
it. Eh?
Just try and have your quiet time and ask yourself, what will you do with yourself if you are not doing this?
Right.
And if it's apples and oranges, you're able to balance and just say, you know what, let me just encourage myself. Because most of the time, some of these things, it's just about encouraging yourself and telling yourself, if I don't do it, then who will?
Yes.
You know?
Uh-huh.
Because it's about yourself. Because I find that if as a parent I can't be able to manage my time, there is no way I'm going to manage other people. There is absolutely no way.
No way.
There is no way.
Yes.
It starts with the parents.
Tweedley, you have seen kids in school who have transferred the chaos from the house to the school. Is that often? Is that a regular occurrence at school?
Well, the beauty about children is that they quickly learn. So many of them might come in with some form of indiscipline in terms of time management. But with time, because of the consistency, you won't see that in school. Today we are starting school at 10 because the teacher just felt like, no, it's 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Whether I feel like or not, we are starting at 8 o'clock.
We start.
And with time, your body actually gets accustomed to it. It becomes easier and easier. If you gauge the beginning of the term and mid-term, those are two different people. Yeah, there's such a big difference because you've gotten used to it. So I would echo what Evelyn is saying and just be persistent. You sort of have to push through. Nothing good comes easy. You sort of have to work hard at it. Yeah.
I think that's a good place for a parent to feel that I can't throw in the towel yet. I have a window of developing a good habit, and it takes time. That's very affirming to me as a parent. If I was struggling in that area, I would feel very affirmed and encouraged. But parents also, from a program last week, parents have asked, balancing work. So parents are still working. Some parents are still working, and they have kids at home. They have to school them at home, and they have to manage their homes. And we have this parent who likes a speak and span environment. And well-disciplined kids who carry themselves very well, and clothes are well organized in the drawers. Meals are on time when the table is laid by the time I come home. But now it's me as a parent. How do we see this panning out in our homes? How do we adjust to living with it's not so chaotic, but a little bit of the unusual?
Now I'm laughing because I think my life had to change drastically when I got kids. I was that person who breadcrumbs. I would go to someone's house and start wiping tables. But of course you have to change when you start getting children. But even at the wake of COVID-19, I found myself without help in the house, and I'd already started training my kids on independence. Things like spreading the bed. I would every day be with them, help them spread their bets. Nowadays, I don't need to help them because they know how to do it. And one of the things that I had to sit down with all of them and tell them is that everybody has to pull their weight. So that is a very important conversation. And what we are doing in this house, like I would tell them, you know, if you don't brush your teeth, you're not doing me a favor. You're harming yourself. So they would know that the big rocks that I need to do when I wake up is certain things before I do breakfast, after I do breakfast, then I sit for class, and certain things. And because there are people who understand, in the beginning it was a real challenge. But right now with the routine and the consistency, we have managed. I would wash clothes, and then when I'm ironing, I'd come and tell everybody, this is your pile, this is your pile, this is your pile. Everybody knows where to go and put their clothes. So at least I'm also having them help me in housework. When they can wash dishes, they wash dishes. They're helping me hoof the house, they will clean the cat, they will help me with house. So I think with parents who have to do the 3 roles. Number one, you have to know what is first very important. I have to wake up earlier than usual. I used to wake up at 4, now I'm waking up at 3. Because that is the window when I have to do my work between 3 o'clock and 6. I'm in school, so I have to read and I have to also do my business work. Then when they wake up, so around 6, I will stop my work, do my breakfast, or I'll do my breakfast before the day. If it's things like pancakes, or I'll boil maize, so that in the morning I'm just heating tea. We sit for breakfast. Before they sleep, I've shown them their timetable, so they know tomorrow I'm doing math, I'm doing crafts, and I'm doing English. The place that they've designated for study, they set it up themselves. So that tomorrow I don't, Mommy, where's my pencil, where's my rubber? We don't share those things. So they know this is my study area, and I have to put out my books early in advance. And I keep telling them, you know, I was raised in a military barracks where things have to be in order. So I sing that and I sing that, so that at least they also get into a routine, and then they know when we are not learning, we can help mommy do 1, 2, 3 things. Yeah. So it's how you train your children in the chores they can do at their level, and also how you communicate with them. So, and then also having in mind that you cannot have a perfect house. That one, if you want a perfect house, I think that is fantasy. So we need to be able to just even be realistic with ourselves in terms of what we can achieve and how we can achieve it.
So the parent with the heap of washing from last week,
It's okay.
it's okay.
Even if you don't iron clothes, who said that we have to work with ironed clothes?
Right.
You know, I mean, it's still okay. I mean, if you clean, you're fine.
You're fine. Deal with the most important fundamentals, isn't it? Yeah. Philip.
Yes.
The chaos in our environment. I understand that men, especially husbands, don't thrive very well in a chaotic environment.
We want to come back home to a well-organized, clean place.
And now we are home.
But also, let me remind let me, because I don't have the day-to-day experience of teaching our kids, my wife is doing that, and she does an incredible work. And I am privileged that I have her. The thing that I have to understand is also she would be drained at the end of the day. I also have to come as a husband, as the father, as a man of the house to encourage her. You know, because sometimes she'll be disappointed by the kids. They are not responding very well. They are not disciplined. Or the children at where our kids are, especially, they know the personalities. They know our personalities. They know that this is the weak one. And they know our weakest and our strong points. So it's for me now to come and cover my wife when I come in cases of like discipline, helping them, what is it that you have learned today, leading them in the Bible study and something like that. So I have to come and offer her that support. So that is typically my role in these very, very chaotic times, and to also encourage my wife.
Wow, fantastic. I think we're going to take a short break now. So our viewers, stay with us, don't go away. When we come back, we'll pick up the conversation on time management better and see how we can encourage our parents. welcome back, guys. We are coming live to you from Mamlaka Hill Chapel, Ruaka. This is Midweek Vibes. And to pick up from where we stopped, we want to pick up with Tweedly now. A question that our parents asked from last week was, I have no resources for teaching at home. I am here with my 3 or 2 or 1 child, or my kids could be of different age groups, and I want to make teaching happen. So, Tweedly, how can I make teaching happen in such an environment?
Okay, so I'd say to the parent who might be struggling, you don't have resources, you don't have textbooks. First of all, make your priority to be teaching the children about God's wonder. They need to be wowed by God's creation. The best way we can do that is books. I'm sure you all have storybooks, even if it's 2 or 3 storybooks that you have at home. So I'm just going to illustrate and sort of equip you. How do you use a book to teach, even if I have a 3-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old, how do I teach them with the book that I have? And you could take this to be your twice a week routine. So this week I have a different book. It's called Who Took the Farmer's Hat? So I said, like, for example, when you're starting with the cover page, this can take you 2 days. For the children to predict, think through, what are they saying? I'm seeing a hat. I'm seeing a little mouse. I'm seeing some feet. Who do those feet belong to? Those are wading feet. So they can sort of predict and think through. You're already getting into science, different kinds of animals. How has God equipped different kinds of animals to adapt with the environment that they have? So Who Took the Farmer's Hat? Always go back to the author, by John L. Nordset. So we're talking about plagiarism. We know how that thing is an issue in our country. But when you begin to teach the children to credit the work to the person who's actually put in the work, they begin to appreciate that. So they're always crediting the work. So Who Took the Farmer's Hat? By John L. Nordset. Pictures by Fritz Silbel. So again, skill building. So I'll try not to take too much time on this.
But Tweedly, stop right there for a second. Did you hear that, parents? Plagiarism.
Yeah.
That's a big issue
It
and
is.
pirating.
Yeah.
It's a huge issue in our country.
Yeah.
We can start it from that
You
early.
can. From a 3-year-old,
Yeah.
they need to know that the author and the illustrator need to be credited for their work.
Wow.
They put in tons of time, effort, resources to
That's
do this. So you
amazing.
always need to
Yeah.
credit them. If you do have time, research about John L. Nordset. That's what I'm saying. You can spend like a week on the cover. Just talking about the cover. Go to John L. Nordset. Is she alive? Is she not alive? What kind of books has she written? Does she write? What's her age group? Does she write fables, realistic fiction? What kind of books? So you're
Wow.
already diving deep. We haven't even opened the book.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So we're just starting about the cover. So we begin. So even your intonation, how you read the book matters. Parents, this is where our creative juices start flowing. Okay. So the farmer had a hat, an old brown hat. Oh, how he liked that old brown hat. Pause there. If you have 6, 7, 8-year-olds, this is when now you teach them about adjectives. I'm describing my hat. How am I describing it? It's old, it's brown. Do they have a hat at home? You're just on page 1. We've talked about so many things there as we begin. And we talk about a farmer, especially with our children who live in the cities. It's important that they know what happens in the farm life. But the wind took it away, and away it went. How does the wind blow? Ooh, where does the wind come from? The farmer ran fast, but the wind went faster. Again, another grammatical rule. So the farmer had to look for it. He looked and he looked. Just pause there. Look at the setting of the place. How would we describe it? It's hilly. What else can we see? What colors are we seeing? Look at the skies. Can they pause there and go and paint? Already that's an art piece you've talked about. So we're going to paint the setting just from what they see. They could either copy it or try and create their own setting of a farm if they've been to a farm.
Lots of learning opportunities
There's
right
lots
there,
of
yeah?
learning. So let me just take a pause here. And he looked. No, old brown hat. He saw squirrel. Squirrel, did you see my old brown hat? Said the farmer. No, said Squirrel. I saw a fat, round, brown bird in the sky. Can you look at what he's pointing at? A bird with no wings. Now for the older ones, you begin to talk about perspective. Squirrel is talking about the old brown hat. But can you see how he's describing it? He's saying, I didn't see the old brown hat. What I saw was a fat, round, brown bird in the sky. Is it because squirrels prefer birds? So we're now looking at perspectives. What do people prefer? We now appreciate the differences that we have, that we're not all the same. If I prefer ice cream and you prefer tea, there's no point to ridicule you because you don't like the same thing. So you appreciate the differences. I mean, there's a lot that we can learn here. What do squirrels eat? I mean, why did he choose to look at this hat as a bird? The farmer saw Mouse. Mouse, did you see my old brown hat? Said the farmer. And you can tell this farmer really loves his hat. No, said Mouse. I saw a big round brown mouse hole in the grass. I ran to it, but away it went. So let me stop there. I think the parents get the point now.
Yes.
Yeah. From
Oh.
there you can teach so much. I'm not even halfway through the book, but with this book I can almost take 2 weeks
Yes.
just learning about the different concepts. So I would
Wow.
say work with what you have, even if it's a book. And this book, some of them are even found in supermarkets, toy markets. So they're not as expensive as sometimes we like to think. And you can teach so much science, social studies. You can teach about the continents, teach about governance, citizenship. There's a lot just from a book. And it's
Wow.
something that is interesting for the child. So the child is actually, what? Really? That's what happens? And they begin to be wowed. Oh my goodness, God actually thought through those details.
Wow. What a
Which is
treasure
what-
there
yes.
for young parents.
Yes, which is what you'd want, that your child is wowed by God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I am wowed by the opportunity to listen to you, to using an ordinary book from the shelves
Yes.
that is not even costly. And then a parent can teach so much
Yeah.
from a book like this. That's amazing. And I like that.
And you can vary it, even if you have different age groups. You can use the same book, but vary the activities.
Yeah.
So you're giving them different activities, but from the same book.
And make it interesting, because
Make it
Evelyn earlier
interesting.
said if it's not interesting,
They get
kids may
bored.
not stay hooked.
Yeah.
The young ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
It has to have it to involve them as well.
Uh-huh.
But it has to be something that is fun. Otherwise, you will lose them in the middle of.
Yeah, and the way Tweedley changed the tone, you know,
Intonation.
in the intonation.
matters.
Yeah. So Philip, are you able to do that? Do parents do that easily at home?
I mean, I'm the one who does all those things at home, especially with Bible stories. And they will always tell me, Dad, come and act. And I'm a little bit patient with them,
Did
especially
you say
with all.
act?
Yes,
So you can do a
yes.
skit?
We do a skit.
Yeah,
We do
yeah.
we do skits.
Uh-huh.
This is your role. This is your role. So we read a story, and then who will be like the prodigal son? Who will be the lost son? I'll be, and all that. And then we start acting it out. And then I start asking them, what did you see? What did you hear? Then they, what are the lessons that you have learned? I will not be like this and all that. And then after that, for maybe a couple of days, we'll be quoting now the story. Did you do what, if maybe there's some misbehavior in the house, did you do what we learned in the story?
From the story.
Especially with the Bible characters. Did you, because you have hit your sister, what do you think God is saying about that? And so they learn a lot. So I think with this acting, reading, and all that, they like it and they learn quite fast. The other part, I leave it to my wife.
But that's a good one. But let's come now to learning with other tools at home. Evelyn, in an earlier conversation, we said that we have our gadgets, we have the phone. And we also said there is a challenge here because parents are saying, how do I balance schoolwork and screen time for entertainment? So we can entertain as we teach, as Tweedley has so well told us. And we have research has shown that there's too much time that kids spend on TV. Share a little bit about those findings.
Actually, Google had sent out a very recent report as of April, and it showed our children now spending 68% front of a
68.
Yes. In front of a screen. Any type of screen, be it a phone, a computer, TV. 68. That's too much time.
That's alarming, isn't
Even
it?
as she has actually just shown us, this is learning without a screen. Yes, I think we are in a dispensation where we kind of are using the excuse of using screens for learning because we want to be in front of a screen. I think such kind of things, engaging your children in non-digital learning is something that we need to also incorporate at home. And I think even when you're doing such kind of things, also show your children. I remember there's a time I said, show your children that you're also able to manage your own technology. Because if you feel like their technology is unmanageable, it's because they're seeing you always on your gadgets. So such kind of learning is also showing them that we can do so many other things other than just being in front of a screen and using it as an excuse to learn, because not most of the time we are actually using it for learning.
Wow. So you're saying that information, 68% of time is spent on the screen, and kids learn from copying.
It could,
So
and also
are they
that
seeing me?
68% could be productive learning or passive.
And passive learning. So
And
they are
also
seeing
it
me.
is passive.
Yeah. And they saw me when I woke up, I took my phone. I started scrolling and looking at the messages from my friends. And I've seen tiny little kids. They are doing this. If you give them a phone, they start doing this with a little finger. I've seen that a lot. Have you seen that a lot? Tell us about, Tudli, capture that and tell us about what happens when we expose our child to the screen when they are before 2 years.
So I'd say, first of all, the kids learn best from watching than from listening. Most of what they will learn from us is watching, as opposed to what we are saying. Sometimes we may just be saying it to go through the other ear. But when they watch you, so even what Maura was talking about, memory verses and acting out, let not the memory verses be for the children alone. They need to also know, even now as a grown-up, I need to memorize scripture. Because what happens when we show them that these things are just for kids, I kid you not, these kids can't wait to grow up so that they throw away the memory verses.
'Cause
They
mommy
throw away
threw it
all
away,
these things.
or
Yeah,
daddy
because
did.
we don't see you doing it.
Yeah.
You just tell us. When are you doing it? I've never seen you reading your Bible. So I would say, even parents, I know quiet time is quiet, but I would say sometimes be deliberate and actually read your Bible in front of the children. Let them see that it's a discipline that as a Christian I need to develop. But even what you're saying about gadgets, kids are if you put children together and all they have is just natural resources, they always come up with a game. I'm yet to see kids you put them together and they stare at each other, unless kids who've been raised with a screen.
Yeah.
Those are the ones who don't know what to do. In fact, when they sit together, they're like, okay, awkward. But most children who are raised up with natural environment, they know what to do. They'll
Right.
come up with games. I mean, you'll find them climbing up. So even that's when now maybe as parents, sometimes just allow some game, just allow. Even if it's a messy game,
Yeah. As long as it's not
allow.
harmful.
Yeah, as long as it's not harmful. I
Allow
always say
it.
as long as there's no blood.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'd even say
So breathing
sometimes
there
even
is not
that
a
falling,
problem.
it's okay. That's part of learning. Because we can be so overprotective and we kill that learning spirit in them.
Wow. Thank you so much, Trudy. Let's prepare a parent whose child is too young. And they're showing them, they need the screen or a cartoon playing to be able to eat their food. Connect that with the conversation we had earlier about what the World Health Organization is saying about kids and screens.
Before COVID, I was using this chart a lot because right now we are trying to see how to define that time, screen time. But the World Health Organization had recommended zero screen time for 0 to 2 years. So that at least your child is able to interact with people. I think I have seen very many parents as young as early as breastfeeding to have a screen in front of you. What happens even as you start weaning your child and you're feeding them, they interact with eating with a screen. When you pull it out, they don't know what to do.
Because they have been conditioned.
There's a disconnection and they're thinking, I was not cultured that way. And that's when they can't eat, they start throwing tantrums and it becomes a very hard thing. And even at that point, their parents would say, my child is addicted to a screen. Yes, they are, because it is what you customed them to. So between 0 and 2 years old, really don't have a screen in front of the child, especially when they're having important things, like even when they go to the bathroom or when you're changing them or bathing them, just have that physical human interaction. Between 2 years and 4 to 5, they say 30 minutes of supervised screen time. 30 minutes a day.
In total.
Yes, of supervised screen time. This is not you giving your child the phone and doing your other things.
You are together with your child.
Because you realize right now we also are a lot on things like YouTube, and most of us, our YouTube is by default autoplay. So you had put for instance, a Tom and Jerry cartoon, and when it ends, there's something that autoplays and autoplays. Again, there are also the pop-ups that come. Children are curious by nature; they'll just click, and then you don't. It's a rabbit hole from there. So if, for instance, you had given your child a screen and then you are doing other things, you might end up finding them watching unhealthy content that now you cannot also get out of. So between any child who is actually below 10, their screen time should always be supervised. Always any parent who has under 10. So between age 6 and age 9, they say an hour, but at this point you can increase it to say an hour of entertainment and another hour probably of learning. So you custom them to, you're going to learn for this hour, then probably have entertainment. And remember, when we say you have to schedule now the entertainment, it's probably towards the end of the day or at a certain time where probably in the afternoon, because I think he actually asked what are the children doing in the afternoon. If they can go outside and play when the sun is still out, good enough. Before they sleep, actually, no, 2 hours before they sleep, they should not be in front of a screen. So probably before 5 and 7 o'clock, they can use that for entertainment. Then now when you start having preteens and teenagers, depending on what they're doing, very many parents ask me, when is the best time to give your child a phone? Procrastinate it as long as you can. I tell parents, for me, I think it's not a discussion until past 13. And I say discussion, it's not that I'm going to give you, but past 13 we can have that talk. But you see, the minute you give your child that phone, it's portable. I don't think sometimes you can control where they're using that gadget. So yes, you can say 2-3 hours, even 6 on your phone. But when they sleep, they have their gadgets in their rooms. So you actually don't know if your child is online or on their gadgets or they're asleep. So we need to be able now to be very careful first which gadgets we're giving our teenagers and what they're using them for. You realize also most of the social media platforms we have, the kids can be on them from age 13. So your kids will be like, no, I have to talk to my friends, I have to do this. So the screen time there changes. Because right now during the COVID time, our kids are learning from probably 8 o'clock to 3. What are they doing during the breaks? During the break should be an off-screen break.
Right.
Stretch your legs, go tinkle, go drink water, eat, but it should be an off-screen break. Even the lunch hour, because then you want their eyes to relax. Then after class, what are they doing? They can then start doing the house chores, doing life skills, go outside, skate, do something. Then now schedule their evening in a way that, yes, you're bringing in the socialization because some of them really do need to talk to their friends to just feel like, hey, this cave is not consuming me. But then now have those deliberate conversations of where are you, what time are you spending? And remember earlier we had said with teenagers now, start changing the discussion to what are you discussing, what footprint are you putting out there? So that even as they manage their own time, they know how to do it depending on what their activities they're engaging.
Wow.
So the discussion really changes. For parents who are under 10, you have to be in control. But with parents who have children, pre-teenagers and teenagers, not that you're not in control, but you have to start inculcating some reasonable independence. Yes.
Reasonable. Yes, and parents can discuss what is reasonable with the teenager. Thank you so much, Evelyn. Thank you so much, Tweedley. Any parting shot from you?
I'll just say, use the resources that God has given you.
Use what God has given you.
I mean, He allowed you to be a parent. He's equipped you to be one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's actually our responsibility as parents to educate our children, except we get help by schools.
Yes, exactly. True.
Yeah.
And if I were to say something also in addition to that, is we were talking with my wife, not in these chaotic times to restrict ourselves to use the word don't. We normally repeat that word, in this time, don't do this, don't go to the kitchen, don't, and all that. And I think sometimes that restricts their creativity. So even as we try to teach them to be disciplined and to plan even their time well, I think it's to encourage them with those encouraging words. Do watch the cartoon for 5 minutes. Is it okay? And then they tell you, how will I know that the 5 minutes have exceeded? Dad put the alarm. You know, when the alarm is on or is over, then I'll bring the phone. And then you
Right.
try also to train them to keep to their words also. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I'm learning.
Amazing. So back to discipline, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
Back to discipline. And Evelyn, you've told us kids must not be on screen without supervision, so long as they are before, did you say 6 or 5?
5.
Below 5, supervised.
Supervised. So 0 to 2
No screen.
time, 2 to 4, 5,
Uh-huh.
30 of supervised.
Parents, there we have it. Yes, but you wanted us to show something on how to do something with those. There are some stones right there. What are they for?
So I use this to teach children how to prioritize. These are rocks, a bit big. They're supposed to be big rocks, and these are what I would call small rocks. Normally I use roses, but I'll improvise. These are petals. So when you want to start creating structure, discipline, actually for the structure mostly, these 3 rocks, anybody who has a child should have 3 rocks. This is God, your relationship with God. It should be very personal, but also have it as family, education, and then family. So children should not have more than 3 big rocks. So when they wake up in the morning and they have their routine, did they check up on how did you sleep? You know, asking, making them ask about the people who are around them. And not asking how did you sleep. Asking things like, I keep telling people, don't ask me how I am. Just ask me what was the best part of my day. At least I will think about the best part of my day. So let them have 3 big rocks. And these are the mandatory ones. I keep telling them, make sure you pray. Make sure you at least think about your education, then think about your family. These are big rocks. Small rocks, this is where we put technology. This is where we put things like friends, socialization. So they can come up with their small rocks and see when the small rocks come after they have done their big rocks.
So where do they keep the rocks at home?
Yes.
They have them in the house?
Yes, you can actually, I mean, like...
You have a jar or something
yes,
like that?
Yes, in a jar.
Okay.
But also just understanding that when I wake up in the morning, the mandatory things I must do. Those are my big rocks.
Okay, good.
Yes. And then now, how can I create my small rocks? Technology. When does technology come in? After I've done my 3 rocks. And also, what am I doing technology with? So if it is learning, it comes with education. Then when does my small rock for entertainment come in? Probably after 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So they need to have this as a chart. Let them write them down. And then this is what is I call miscellaneous. So miscellaneous would be, and I'll give an example. It's very hot outside. I crave for ice cream, but if I drink water, it will serve the same purpose. So just looking at life in that perspective.
Yeah.
And also helping them when they start fussing over, I want this right now. If it is not there, this is a petal. You can tell them, yes, I know you really want ice cream. We don't have ice cream at the moment. Can you drink some water? Or can we make some juice? Something of the sort. Just helping children also to understand that not everything you ask has to be given.
Yeah.
And if things are not there, can we have alternatives?
Yeah.
So they have to have their miscellaneous and understand that there are things in life or there are things during the day that I don't prioritize. The cartoons also come here. Yeah.
Oh.
I really want to watch a cartoon. Do you have to watch it at 5:30 in the morning? No. It can come at 5:30 in the evening.
In the evening, yeah.
So helping them understand. So if parents have this, and then you see, for instance, your child is misbehaving or they are watching cartoon at lunchtime, you're asking them, where are you putting your petals before your small rocks? Or why are you doing this before your big rocks? So that also it helps them understand that I have to prioritize the things I do.
Right.
Helping them understand also that the better part of the morning, because that is when I'm most engaged, I have to do my big rocks, prioritize my time. So that if I'm to account for it, I'll say I learned, I talked to God, so I built my relationship with God. I also checked on my family. Then at least I can do my miscellaneous.
Oh,
so just helping them
fantastic.
understand that. And even for parents, this is good. I have work, I have this, I have that. Yes, I know maybe you have a big pile of laundry, but do I have to do it in the morning? Not really.
Yeah.
You can do it in the afternoon. So just helping you understand so that when you put a schedule in place, you look at, did I prioritize the things that I needed to do before now I start putting out other things?
Wow.
So that at least you're also managing your time and your expectations.
Ah, fantastic. I think I like that. And I like them in a jug as a visual with my child, so they can also, as they put it in their minds, they're seeing it as a visual reminder. That is really nice, and it's a very concrete lesson. I love it. So thank you very much, our panelists. I appreciate your coming. Tweedly, thank you so much for your time. Evelyn, thank you so much. Philip Moura, thank you very much. And our viewers, we really appreciate your time and your watching. God bless you.